what exactly do you know about project on the left side, main workflow, where we will write the code? So any idea?
Main XML file.
Yes. So when we open, so main XML file is the start point, normally, which is pre-configured. So here we have process title, process description, and additional information. So all these details are custom. So if I want to just add some values, I can add it, like process title is RE framework. See this workflow, what did you understand and how exactly are you saying this?
In RE framework, I want to know about the arguments here. Actually, one argument is passing from one workflow to another workflow.
Correct.
If we exactly, uh, for example, we are using in Excel data in RE framework, on the time where we want to change the data, like transaction item. For example, we are using queues. On the time we are using the queue item in Excel, data row, database also data row. On the time where we want to change the details, that is the main thing I
So
want to know, sir.
everything will be done in here in the variables, and transaction item is what where you need to change the values. By default, it is a queue item when it is with respect to orchestrator queues, but you can go ahead and change this to um, data row. So when you say about data row, okay, here is the data row. So this is the place where you need to change it. Let's understand that this is a table. Okay, in this table there are few columns and there are few rows. Okay, now when there are rows and we want to perform transaction on each row, this is one row, this is one row, this is third row, this is fourth row, and this is the fifth row. So what will be the index of this particular row? 0.
0, yes, 0, 1.
This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So how exactly do we need to increment? See, transaction item is one particular row. When we are working on first row, that is the transaction item, and when we are working on the last row, that is the transaction item. Now how are we maintaining this transaction number? When I say about transaction number, so these are the transaction numbers, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the transaction numbers.
Okay.
So where are we maintaining? We will be maintaining those in an variable called transaction number. Did you get?
Yeah, got it, sir.
Okay. Now, where are we storing one transaction item? In the transaction item variable. Okay. Just try to understand the namings, then things will be easier for you. Okay. And
Transaction number is the
index of the
okay.
transactions items that we are working on.
Okay, transaction item is the row. That means
Correct.
the queues or
Correct. Let's assume that this is a list.
okay.
Okay. Now, when we have a list, let's also assume that this is a list of type, a list of strings.
Okay.
So when we have list of strings, each and every item will be a string, right?
Okay. Sure.
So what is the index of this particular item?
1, sir. I think 1.
By default, everything will start with 0.
0.
The index of this one is 2. The index of this, sorry, the
1.
index of this one is 1. This is 2. This is 3. And this is the n. If this is n, then this is n minus 1 is the index. Okay. Here there can be any type of strings. There can be A, there can be B, C, D, Z, E, F, anything. At 0 index, we have A. At first index, we have B. Okay.
Okay.
Now, here is what I need to show you. Now, when I'm using data table and data row is a transaction item. Now, when we are using list, what is the transaction item?
String.
Exactly.
String is
Exactly. So this transaction item will become string.
okay.
Okay. So you understand the difference now. Whenever there is a collection, a single entity in a collection will be a transaction item.
Okay, sir. In list, we are taking a transaction item as a string.
Correct.
In data row, data table or Excel data row.
Correct.
Is it in queue
Now,
items? In queues, queue item is the
correct. Now let's assume that the transaction now this table is called as transaction data. In this case, this table is called, what is this table called?
transaction data.
Transaction data. And this complete list will be called as
Transaction data. Sir.
transaction data. Okay. So any collection will be a transaction data. Now let's
Okay.
assume that this string is the transaction data. Now when we are using a string, what will be the transaction item? When I say string, there is S, T, R, I, N, G. All the letters are combinedly called as a transaction data. Now what will be a transaction item?
Yeah. No idea. Yes, is the one of the item, one of the transaction item. T is
So
the
others who are online can also answer.
So each and every letter will be the transaction item.
Exactly. So S will be a transaction item, and tree will be a transaction item. R will be I, N, G. So all these differently will be transaction items. So S is at the index of,
0.
exactly. Now S is at the index of 0 and G is at the index of n minus 1. If n
1,
is
2,
the
3,
length
4,
of it,
5.
if n is the length, then this is at the index n minus 1.
Okay, 5.
Okay. Now, if you see here, by default, this will be 1. But other than queues, when we are using RE framework, we need to change this to 1 to 0. Okay.
we didn't get you. Can you
Okay. See, when we started, we said that we need to start from index 0.
yes, yes.
But when we start, the transaction number by default is initialized to 1.
Yes.
Okay, so when we start with 1, there will here the from first row it will be from second row it will be executed. Here it will be executed from second item. Here also it will be executed from the second character.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we
so
need to change it as a 0.
yes, so we need to change it as 0. But when we are using transaction items as queue item, we need not do it.
Okay. Sir, I
Okay.
have a one more doubt here.
Yes, tell me please.
Whenever we are using the queue items, there is a number of maximum tries is the 50.
Number of maximum tries as 50.
50, yeah. In orchestrator, we have the 50 numbers.
Okay.
In a config file, whenever
Okay.
we are getting the system exception, there is a how many is the maximum number? What is the maximum number of system exception?
See, there is no such number as 50 to my understanding. By default, RE framework supports 3 times of retry. See in the data and in the config, you can see in the settings or in the constants, the max retry number is 0 by default.
Yes.
Okay, this will be executed in case of transaction items other than queue item. Okay, if there is no queue item, only then this will be executed.
Okay.
And the code is available in this particular project file called in the framework. See, you also need to understand different files that are available in the project and how you can use them. Okay, and here is the set transaction status. Okay, now see, in the system exception, again we are going off the topic or we are going ahead, but try to understand. If this is transaction item is not nothing and also it's of type queue item, then retry. If we are checking with the retry in the if condition, and there is no else condition here, transaction item retry number equal to transaction item of retry number only if this is a queue item. If you see here, transaction item is not nothing and it's of type queue item, only then it's taking it from orchestrator, or else this will take from our config file. So one more interview question, like if you want to change the retry when you are not using orchestrator, where will you do it?
In config files.
Assume that there are two inputs here, transaction items from orchestrator queue. So this one I'm taking this as orchestrator items. Now the second one we are going to have as a list of items. Let's say that this is a list items. Okay, list items. So when will retry occur in case of RE framework? There are three states that we have. When will retry occur? So the first state is success state. Okay, the second state is business rule exception state. Third one is system exception state. Okay, now at which state will we have a retry executed?
System exception.
Okay, okay, so why shouldn't we check in business rule exception or success?
Success is already done, right? So we can't do anything because
Okay.
it's out of the box. And I think for business rule exception, um, uh, for me, I'm not sure why business exception, but for system exception, it's completely into application exception, I think. So if we have any it cause any error in application, it again tries into the enters into the application and again it will do, I think. I'm not sure.
Okay, so let's say that there are transactions. So when we have when we say that this is a transaction item, that's basically a key value pairs. So this is also a list of transaction items or a queue. This is one item. Let's assume that this is one item, this is one more item, this is one more item, and also in the list items we have a list of items. Now out of this list items, let's say that there is one as a data here, there is two here, there is three here. In the list items also, at the 0th index we have one, first index we have, second index we have two, so and so on, fourth. Now when we say business rule exception, what is business rule exception? First we need to understand that. Okay, so business rule exceptions are the ones that will be triggered when we raise them. A user or a developer raises a business rule exception. Okay, clearly this is raised by a developer. Now why a developer will try to raise an exception? That's the question. Let's assume that these are the IDs of employees. 1 is an ID of an employee, 2 is an ID of an employee, 3 is an employee ID, 4 is an employee ID. In these, third employee did not attend office for 30 days. Okay, so management asked to hold on with the processing salary. Hold processing salary. So what our bot does, our bot will try to, just a second. So our bot will try to work on each and every transaction ID or each and every person, and it will process the salaries and it will store in some location, store in a location. But when business asked us to not process third ID, should we process them or should the bot process them?
Processing, but we are raising some condition.
Yes. So here something that you need to understand is we have all the resources that we need to process this particular person's salary. But
Yes, sir.
our requirement is to not process it according to the business condition. We set the
Yes.
bot not to do it. So when we already set the bot not to do it, should I retry?
No, sir.
There is no need for retrying because
Yes.
we specifically gave it a prompt not to work on that particular item. Okay, so there is no need for retry. But in case of system exception, let's assume that the bot failed, so that there is a salary application that crashed when it's trying to work on fourth item, fourth number, a salary. Now, is it a success state? No.
No.
Is it a
not
business rule exception?
No.
No. But it is a system exception. Clearly, that whenever there is an application that we need to process, that's no, we are not able to process, then that's a system exception. So we need to retry only this particular item.
Okay.
So how are we retrying it? We will all launch application again. Okay, navigate to salary processing, and then process salary.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the different steps that we have to do it. So if there is a business rule exception, this will not retry, but if there is a system exception, this will retry. Simple. Okay, but
Okay.
simple thing that we need to see or understand here is when we are working on orchestrator items, okay, this already has a key called retry number that you can see in here. So if you see, there is a key in this particular item called in transaction item dot get type, and here you can also see in transaction number dot retry number.
Okay.
Okay, so do you know about transaction items and how do you get the values from transaction item? Now let's assume that we have a list of items. Okay, list, and this list have 0, 1, 2, 3. So we need to work on this list. Now when we are working, how can we call the first item of the list? List of 0. What list of 0 will give?
0, sir.
Okay, so what list of okay, what list of 2 will give?
2.
2. So how are we calling? So this is the pattern where we are trying to call it, right? In the same way,
Yes, sir.
list also has a property called list.length.
Okay.
So what will be the list.length?
4. 4, sir.
4, because we have 4 items. In the same way, a transaction item will also have a property called retry number. Okay, so this retry number will be incremented whenever we try to get that particular item and try to process. So what is the default retry number?
0.
0. So let's assume that this failed. So when we try to process this again, what will be the transaction item dot retry number for this?
1.
For the second one, this is 2. Now in the code, we can try to set it in the orchestrator queue that retry only 3 times. Okay, so whenever the bot try to process, it will check for the retry number, and if the retry number is matching or less than the maximum retry number, it will try to execute. If it is more than the maximum retry number, then it will stop the transaction. It will not stop retrying. Got it?
This is the retry number is only 3, sir.
If we give it as 3, then only 3. If it is give it as 50, only 50. If we give it as 1000, we
Limit.
can
I'm asking limit,
Yes.
sir. Limit.
limit. You can set it in the orchestrator, or also I have also shown you in the Excel sheet when we are not using orchestrator queues.
Yeah. Okay. I got it. Got it. Got it.
In the config, in the constants, you can see that there is 0 to 3. This will work, but try to understand what's there next to this particular value. Must be 0 if working with queues. If greater than 0, the robot will retry the same transaction when failed with system exception, and must be an integer value. Can you please try to understand this one? What if we are working with queues? What is the number that should be?
0, sir.
0. So even if we don't keep it to 0, this value will be ignored when we are using orchestrator queues.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Let's try to come back to code
Okay.
and try to understand. Okay. When I change this transaction item type to transaction to data row, I think you can see things are started falling apart. There are many errors. Let's also try to do this. Instead of we reading a data table, let's go ahead and try to add a string. And transaction data, if you see, this is data table, right? Instead of a data table, I would like to give this as string. Okay, now where should we initialize, or from where should we start the process?
From initialization state, sir.
Exactly. Now from initialization state, let's go ahead and see what's there in the code. See, blindly try to understand a few things. Here initialization will take place. This will happen only once.
Okay.
Okay, initialization will take place, but this will happen only once. And whenever there is a system exception, then we will try to reinitialize. If you see the flows here, I will try to expand this one. Just try to understand these. So these are the flows. If you see in the success, what do we have in the success? It is going to the transaction data. Okay, now you understood what is there in the initialization. What is there in get transaction data? Any guess?
Yeah, we will initialize the process, right? We will be getting the data from the where we are initializing the data.
Okay, so to make it more clear, let's say that, sorry, let's say that there are transaction items. Okay, no, sorry. So there are transaction items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now see, we have an application called calculator. Okay, and these are the transaction data, right? Now what is transaction item in this?
Numbers.
Each and every item is a transaction item. So this is an item, this is an item, this is an item. Now from where are we picking the transaction item? So we need to first pick this item, right? And we need to process it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, then we need to pick this item, then we need to pick this item. So where that picking is happening, that picking is happening in get transaction data state.
Okay.
Okay, even if you are working on queues, from where are we need to have one queue item, right? This is a queue item. Let's assume that this is a queue item, this is a queue item. So we need to pick one item and we need to work on it, and then we need to close it. Pick one item,
Okay.
work on it, close it. Pick one item, work on it, close it. So where that picking will happen, that will happen in get transaction data. Got it?
Yes.
Now here in the process transaction state, what will happen? So we said that we will add two numbers, or we will try to print two numbers, right? Or try to work on something. Whatever we want to, so if we have this one, we are executing some operations in this one, right? This operations executing in this one will be happening in process state. So get transaction item will pick one item, send it to process state. This will work on the item, and it will set the transaction status to completed. Success, fail, or business rule exception. So that is the role of process state. Get transaction data state is to pick one item. Now from where are we changing this? See, whenever we understood that this is the transaction item, first thing that we need to do is go ahead and change them a transaction type. Transaction item type should be a string. When we change it, then we will have some errors, then we can correct the errors to get the process successful. If you see here, this is an error. So this transaction item is nothing, is by default this is true, but while mapping this will throw an error. What you need to do, you need to just repaste it again. So all I'm doing here is copy the code, copy nothing, come out, go back, paste it. So it will be mapped again, and this error will be moved away or removed. So here if you see that there are few errors. Okay, so import arguments, let's do import arguments. See what are the errors basically. So out transaction ID is string. This is okay. So if you see here, what is the IO transaction data? Data table. But what is the transaction data that we updated in the variables? String of array of strings. Don't forget to name, don't forget to have this naming correctly. Now when you open this get transaction data in the arguments, you need to go ahead and change data table to string, system of strings, string array. Okay, now when you change it, and see there is one more error. Whenever there is an error in the argument, you need to go into the workflow and change it. If you change it here, like if you change it here in string, this will not work and this will not be saved. Okay, always you need to go ahead and change it inside. See, whenever, as soon as I close it, it change it back to data table. Okay, and here this is queue item. Now what should be the transaction item?
Strings.
Exactly. So we need to have one string over here. Now here there is one important thing. This transaction item, see, normally when we read the content over here, we can easily get it, but since we normally don't read, just try to understand that this is the place where we get transaction item is the activity which will get one item from orchestrator queue. But since we are not working with orchestrator queue, I commented it out. Okay, and important thing that we need to change over here is transaction item is not nothing, is something that we need to do when it is orchestrator queue. But here try to tell me the logic in the, let's see that yeah, we have notepad. Okay, so let's assume that there are 1 2 3 4. Okay, and along with that I would like to add, to avoid confusion, A1, A3, A4. Okay, B3. Now these are the transaction items, these are the strings, array of strings. Let's assume that these are array of strings. Okay, now till how many items do we need to get the value? When we started with an index 0, right?
Yes, sir. Till 1, 2, 3.
Till 4 we need to update it, right? Or is it wrong? What should be the
After
last
3.
transaction number?
0, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, 3. So we need to check with the length of it, and we need to get the last item of it. Length minus 1 is the last index, right? Now the transaction number should be incremented till only 3. How can we do that? Here if you see in the code, we have something called, we need to add few codes here. Instead of this, what we can do is in transaction number. So what will be the transaction number by default? 0.
Yes, sir.
As we increment it, it will be 1 2 3 and so on, right? This should always be less than IO transaction data dot length. So when we execute it for the second time, the transaction number value will be
1 less than will be
1 less than 3, that is true.
yes, sir.
And 3 less than 3, is it true?
No, no, sir.
No.
Actually,
Yes. So here we will get 3 less than 4. At the last item we will get, so for B3 we will get something like 3 less than 4, which is true, right?
yes, sir.
And the last item will be executed. Now when we get that transaction number incremented, this will be 4 less than 4. Is it true? 4 less than 4, is it true or not?
No, sir.
So this is false, and robot will stop execution, because it doesn't have an item to process. So what it can process in the next one, with the next one? It's not required, right?
Yes.
So that's the reason we will update few things here. So here I have already updated transaction number, which is less than transaction dot length. And there is also one more thing that we need to add. There is transaction item, out transaction item. I said you right, we need to get one item out, pick one item out. So let's also assign an item. Let's keep an assign statement. In this assign statement, let's go ahead and write out transaction item. And what should be the out transaction item now? We are getting index in transaction number, right? So if you see here, IO transaction data of index in transaction number. So whenever this gets executed, first we will get the first item, second it will give the second item, and so on till the last item we will get the value. Okay, and finally we can come out of this workflow and save it here again and import workflow. So if you see here, since we changed types of two items, these values are removed. So what should be the transaction item? What variable should we assign it here?
IO transaction item.
So you are out of the flow in the main
Transaction
workflow.
item, sir.
Exactly. So here we need to save it to transaction item. So whatever transaction item we get it from there, we are getting it in transaction item variable. And what is there in IO transaction data?
Transaction data.
Exactly. Transaction data. Got it? So this is as simple as it. Now when we go back to main, can you see that there is no more error here? Let's go into process state. Now even in process state, here is something that we need to do. Import argument. So why it's throwing an error? Can you please tell me?
Queue item. We need to change the type of
Exactly. So from where do we need to change it?
in transaction item.
Okay, first you need to open the workflow, go into the arguments. What should be the type?
String, sir.
String. And when we save it and come back to main workflow and import it and update it to transaction item. Done. Now see, here we don't have an error. Now we have error at one last place in the set transaction status. Okay, in try block, if you see here, what is the type? Queue item. Okay, so let's go ahead and okay, for this particular example, since we are not using queues, let's comment it out. Okay, all we are trying to do is we are trying to print some values from the array and post it in process. Okay, now we have a value that's available. Let's try to add a message box. So what should be printed here? See the arguments. What should be printed here?
In transaction item.
Exactly. So we are trying to give in transaction item here. So how can you check whether the process is completed without any exception? Here if you see analyze file, analyze project, this will give you all the output of whether that particular project is correct or not. So one more important interview question that you can expect is, let's assume that I want to make it as a linear process without repeating. Okay, so how can you do that? So here we are trying to repeat after each transaction item, we are trying to go for the next transaction item, right? How are we going to make it as simple transactional process, linear process? Initialize it, get transaction data, process it, and end the process. So what are the things that we need to do for this?
No ideas.
Here you have the flows, right? These are the transactions. Okay, this is the transition line. All you need to do is move all the transition lines to end process. So we are just saying that, okay, try to process one item and go to stop the process. Process one more item, stop the process. Don't go back and get a new item. That's a linear process. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. So since there are no errors, see, these are warnings, but there are no errors. we can execute the code.